Hey there, you beautiful badass. Welcome to the Keri Croft Show. I'm your host, Keri Croft, delivering you stories that get you pumped up and feeling like the unstoppable savage that you are. So grab your coffee, put on your game face, and let's do this thing, baby. Amy Nelson.
Hello, Keri.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
To Ask Amy on the Keri Croft Show. So I'm all about talking about masculine versus feminine energy in leadership today.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's because of like a clip I saw, Sarah Blakely, and she was talking about Kevin O'Leary. And Kevin O'Leary was like basically saying that business is war.
Yeah.
And you have to go to bat. And she like came after him. This has like been a minute. But I got served something recently that reminded me of it. Mm-hmm. And there's all that's a big conversation today around like leadership styles and leading with empathy and a softer leadership style. But it also lends itself to the conversation around female founders and the disparity between, how much funding we get versus male and how many there are versus men. And you were just telling me you were just at, was it VCon?
VidCon.
VidCon, yeah.
So VidCon is this conference that started like 20 years ago, and it's like the social media conference. It's a lot of YouTubers, but now it's expanded to include people who, make their living on Instagram or TikTok or wherever. And it was super interesting for a bunch of different reasons. But one of my biggest takeaways is that there are so few women leaders in this space. I went to before the conference started, I went to like an industry masterclass for people in the social media industry. It was invite only. 90% of the speakers were male and 90% of the people in the room were male. And it's just like, I've been in spaces like that my entire life. I'm a female founder. I've raised $30 million in venture capital. 98% of venture capital dollars go to men. 98%, which is a wild statistic, right? Like I was a lawyer, and even though women are half of law school graduates and have been for decades, they're only 17% of law firm partners, right? Like it's just like you see it in every industry. And it's like, it's horrifying. But I think, one of the things I think is this perception and that women do have softer leadership styles. And so like I might say this might be very controversial, but the truth is like when Kevin O'Leary says business is war, like in a capitalist society, the point of a business is to win. Mm-hmm. And the point of war is to win. And so like I agree with him on that front, right? Like, and I think part of the reason women get less funding or women are put in leadership positions less is the perception that we have softer styles, and also that the demand that we do. Like we are not allowed to be soldiers. We are not allowed to be generals because then we're seen as bitches and assholes. Mm-hmm. I mean, Sarah Blakely built a juggernaut of a company, and she's a badass, and she's tough as hell.
Yeah. Right?
Like she is. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like I respect her for that. And I don't think she's a bitch at all. You can be a tough as hell and not be an asshole, right? Like I think she's probably both of those things.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's soft.
No, you can't be.
No, you can't be. But it's like, I also remember like when the Riveter had 150 employees, I immediately felt this conflict of what I thought my employees thought I would be and who I would be, because I'm this like pregnant lady nursing and who I am. And who I am is someone who was raised on Wall Street professionally in rooms full of men as a litigator, as a fighter, right? And I think that's why I've been successful, because I was trained to be in those rooms. I believed I should be in those rooms. And I figured out who I was going to be in those rooms. And it wasn't someone who was soft. And I do see business, everything, I see it as, kind of like a something to win.
So I feel you on that, because I feel my opinion on it when I saw that. I don't totally disagree with him, mm-hmm. but I also understand what she's saying. So I think my opinion lies probably somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Kind of like you. Because also I too have been in the throes of corporate America with AT&T, dog eat dog. Like, my God, if you have to fight to survive, and especially when you're in sales, it's like, and you're climbing it's like a whole thing. And then you go and you swing over to being an entrepreneur and building your own thing. I feel like part of me overcorrected a bit. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, and I wasn't soft by any means, but I think I was overly generous.
Also, you kind of probably wanted people to like you. I felt that like in this way because you felt like then they'll work for you or then they'll invest in you or then they'll hire you. Like,
but I genuinely wanted, because I think it was my sales background, I understand the value of someone feeling ownership in something.
Yeah.
And so I genuinely wanted people to win. And I wanted to bring them along. But I feel like when you do too much of that with people, they will take.
Oh.
And so I from experience know that in my, at least what I have experienced is that you do have to write a line. Like, you're in business for a reason. We're not all here to like be around the campfire and be a family. And that was always a thing too, where I said something so controversial to the team at one point. I said, we're not a family. And oh my God. But it was like I felt like Cruella DeVille, right? And I was like, well, let me, families protect their weak.
Yeah. Businesses don't.
And so if we are going to protect the weak, none of us are going to have a revenue stream in a year to even have this conversation. Yeah. And so there is this balance where I think leadership, if you lead from a place of wanting the greater good for everyone, you truly value and want people to come along on the ride, and you're very transparent and you show the vision. Yeah. Right? But then you have to hold people and yourself to the same sort of level of accountability and expectation. That's where shit goes awry, you know, because you're like, those are hard conversations. Like, if you're expecting business to be this like kumbaya, like we all kind of, I just don't believe that's what is going to happen.
It's not. And there's like two things that made me think of, right? Like you can be a killer in business, in politics, whatever, and still have a leadership style that is humane and maybe somewhat softer, right? Like, look at Winston Churchill, right? Who like saved the world in many ways, right? Like, Britain took the brunt of, the European fight in World War II until we got in it. And if you look at Winston Churchill, like, he wasn't like, you weren't scared of him. He inspired a nation. He told you, like, you have to do this. We can only be okay together, right? Like, he had a leadership style that wasn't like Jeff Bezos, right? But like, he won, right? Like, look at like Abraham Lincoln. I don't think anyone would think of him as like a rabid dog killer. You know what I mean? But like, he won. And I think like, look at like Patagonia. David Gellis, a New York Times journalist, just came out with a book called Dirtbag Billionaire about the founder of Patagonia. And like, winning for Patagonia is different than winning for Walmart. And right. And so he built this great company on values that make sense. But he still won. Right? And I think part of it is like, define what winning is. And in a for-profit business, part of winning has to be making money, right? Like, if you're a nonprofit, it's different. It has to be making money. And to make money, you need to have the right people in the right positions doing the right things. But beyond that, like, you can make different decisions. And you can make different decisions about winning if you're a public company and a private company. It's like, but I do think there is this really, really hard thing that women leaders have to deal with, that you are expected to be softer and gentler. And if you're not, like, it's going to be a challenge for you.
It's like you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Because 100%. You're expected to be this soft, sort of empathetic, all these ooey gooey things. And then if you lean into all those things, then you would have a propensity to be walked on. Yes. If you naturally flow toward maybe a more alpha style, but that's just who you are, but you still have empathy, then you're this brazen, bossy bitch. Yep. That has, so it's like, how does that work? Like, it doesn't happen for men.
No, it doesn't.
It just blows my mind. I mean, but I want to ask the question, like, why does that continue in the world today? Why is the double standard just like rolling? It's still just there. It's just so like right in front of your face all the time.
Part of it, I think, is we have created in our country, and probably in a lot of countries, this idea of scarcity for women. Like, there's only room for one woman at the top or something, and which isn't true, but like, we believe it and we live it. And so I think we're a lot harder on women than we are on men, because we think with men, there's room for 99 of them at the top. So of course they'll have issues, of course X, Y, or Z. But for women, it's like, and women, we do it to ourselves. Like, we perpetuate this internalized belief of how women should act. and then we punish them when they don't act that way. Right? Like I've watched so many female founders be fired from their companies for things men have done 1,000 times. And I'm not saying that things were right, but like men are allowed to do them. Why aren't women? And women were responsible for the firing as well as men. I don't know. Like, do we need like a Handmaid's Tale uprising? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you change that other than, you know, what I'm trying to do with my 4 daughters is to teach them the things I think boys are taught. I am constantly encouraging them to fail. Fail again. Like you're not trying hard enough if you don't fail, right? Like nothing happens if you're not failing. Or, you know, like someone called my oldest bossy and I said, good.
Oh God.
I said, good. Own it. Like nobody calls a boy bossy, right?
Never.
She says, no. I'm like, there you go. They're telling you that because you're a girl. Keep doing whatever you're doing. Keep doing it. I just am leaning into those things. And like, sure, I will probably like raise the daughters that are considered to be the brazen bitches, but I'd rather have them be that than be a wallflower.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And I think too, for women who are struggling with like how you're supposed to be, like I look back on when I took over my first team at AT&T and I became like the sales director, and I was in, you know, I had my whole team was maybe 2 women and like all men.
Yeah.
But even before that, when I was a salesperson, I never walked into a room in business and thought to myself like, oh, let me put this mask on, or let me, how should I be? I always just was who I am. And so I think no matter what, that's going to always win. If you're someone who every time you're walking into a conference room or you're walking on stage to talk or you're, you know, having a meeting and you feel like you have to be really careful, you're like almost putting on this like veneer or something, that's where I feel like things go sideways. You have to just be who you are.
Yeah, because you can't fake being a character for years. It's going to come out who you are, however you are, right? And I think you're much more likely to succeed, maybe not the way you want to, but you're much more likely to succeed if you just are who you are. I also think, and like this is an optimistic take on things, but like I personally am not interested in leading another company of 150 people, largely because of these things, right? Like I don't want to deal with the bias of like who I'm supposed to be and how I'm supposed to act. So I just want to build on my own and work with people, you know, more loosely than building a company of 150 employees. And in this moment in time, like you can do that. And that wasn't possible 10 years ago. And that's cool.
Yeah.
Right. So it's an unlock for women. Like if you can't get the pay you deserve, go build your own thing. If you like are, you know, if you're facing like a glass ceiling, like just go build your own house.
Yeah.
Right. And we can do that now. And we couldn't do that 10 years ago. So we're really lucky to be able to do that.
No. And I'm like so pumped that my whole entire business model is going to be around helping people do that.
I can't wait for it.
It's so crazy. But it's so weird. It took me almost 2 years to birth it.
I don't think that's weird. It's like you were ideating for a long time. And I think you were also at a point where you're like, I'm not going to do it if it doesn't feel right.
Yeah. But now that the baby's been born, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, of course.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it all makes so much sense looking backward, but I'll tell you what, the torture chamber that has been this brain for like a year and a half is wild.
I get it. But I'm so excited that you found the thing and that you're doing it. Because that's the other thing. I think that like, you know, a lot of you are not this way, but a lot of people, and I think I used to be this way. Like I felt like I was like waiting for permission to make the pivot or start the thing, or that like I didn't have the expertise so I couldn't do it, or someone had already done it, or someone had done it better. You can still fucking do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's, you know, like Uber existed when Lyft was born. They're both multi-billion-dollar businesses. Yeah. Good job.
Yeah.
Right? There's room. Yep. There's always room.
I totally agree with that.
And so like, you know, you are probably the person in the world I would say least will wait for permission.
Oh, no. I will always ask for forgiveness later.
Yeah.
Ask for forgiveness later. It's always, and you know, it's funny, speaking of AT&T, one of my mentors, Carol Vanette, who was just so great to me there, that was something she always said. She was like, never ask for permission, you ask for forgiveness later. Yeah. And that was like, I mean, I stood at attention on that. I'm like, I like the way that sounds.
It's really good. I mean, the other thing is like, I mean, very few people are going to stand in your way to try to stop you, right? Like you will be so successful in life if you just do the thing, if you just begin, even if you fail. Like most people don't even try. The way I've been thinking about it lately is like the main character energy. I love that phrase. Because somehow we've reached this point in American history where so many people are embracing this idea that like they can sit on the sidelines and watch the show happen. Like, you're the main character of your own life. There is no other main character. And like, if you don't put yourself in that position, what's the point?
But so many people hold themselves back, and it's just it's tragic to me.
Like, society teaches them to, and that's one of the most dangerous things, right? It's like you go to school, you're taught to wait your turn and raise your hand, right? You're not taught to begin and ask for forgiveness later. You're taught to wait your turn, right? Stand in line. We'll give you a role. And then you're taught to, this is, I think now, like the one thing I want to teach my kids is don't go work for someone else. But like then we're taught to go to college and then go work for somebody else to help their dreams come true, to help them make more money. So maybe you can retire when you're in your late 60s or something.
Yeah.
It's just like we're teaching people to sit on the sidelines. Why? And that's not who we were 200 years ago.
No.
And it's weird to me that we've become that. And I don't like it.
No, me neither. That's why I'm so, like, every single person that has been taking, like, I do the 15-minute call. That's usually how I engage someone. But there have been certain people that I've met who are now clients, and they're becoming like the first prototype for this engine that we're building, which is really cool.
So cool.
It is. And to say that I can't even put into words what it's done for me, just this small group of people, watching them. Yeah. And Kate's been witness to this too. Some of them need a little more mindset than others, but some of them are on the precipice of this really fucking great thing. And to help them along
that's amazing.
Their way, it's like there's nothing in this world that would give me more joy.
I love it.
From a business perspective.
I love it.
It's so great.
It's amazing.
And I want more people, whether it's like, I can only do so many with the B Lab. There's millions of ways that you can do it out there. Even with just conversations like this, if there's one little nugget that someone's like, you know what? Yeah, me too. I deserve this too.
Yeah. And I think too, like with the B Lab and the engine you're creating, and I think this is something that I think we should all embrace, right? Like we can test our businesses, what we're good at and how we help people in more one-on-one or like curated, more expensive ways. And then from there, we can build it at scale. Yeah. I know you. Like you'll take this and build it at scale so it can help thousands of people. And so, I think we should give ourselves permission to do that way, right? You're like, my goal is to help 100,000 people. Yeah. But I'm going to start by helping 5.
Yeah. And my initial goal here, the phase we're in right now, what I'm really excited about is sort of the approach that we're taking. So the inputs we're asking for from people are they're not different, but it's so much more 360 than a typical business engagement. So for example, I want to know your birthday because I want to know your sign.
I love it.
I want your Enneagram. I want to have an entire input on your mindset and where you're at personally. And then I want a comprehensive data collect around your current state of your business and then what an ideal future state looks like. Yeah. So when you take something it gives me a good look at these goosebumps.
That's amazing.
When you take all of that data and then you funnel it through my authentic view of the world and my authentic experience in business, and you're able to have these manual stopping points. So my goal isn't to be like, okay, here's a bunch of data, let's let AI shoot out something. My goal is to really hear and see exactly where you exist right now from a personal perspective and a business perspective, because those things can't exist separately. Right. If you're a fucking dumpster fire personally, the odds of that transcending into your business are pretty significant, right? So to understand and get a very a very cool scope of who this person is, and then we have manual stopping points where it's like, I will work with OpenAI 4.0 or whatever the fucking version is. We will finesse and figure out okay, this is the path. This is what we need to do. And we will be able to scale.
That's so cool.
But right now where I'm really geeking out is with these individuals who are so up close to me, but they're case studies for the bigger good. So to have an engine, then you come through, right? The Amy Nelson extraordinaire comes through. We work with you. Next thing you know, you're off and running, but we have the data
Yeah.
And we have your experience now in the library.
That's amazing.
You know, to like help scope out, oh, wait, there's someone who's very similar situation to what you went through. It's just a whole thing that like it just all clicked.
Yeah.
Like in all sort of like, it's wild. And I cannot wait to like, and like scaling it. Yeah, that sounds really exciting. And like, I am excited to get to that point. But like right now, these human beings who I'm seeing like get it.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck yes.
That's amazing. I mean, that's huge, right? Like these are the things, and like it's interesting because it's being stuck without all of this analysis, without all of this data is what stops us from taking the first step or the step that changes everything, right? And also, you know, a lot of people in this position are working alone and they don't have anyone to bounce ideas off of. They don't have any creative partners. And so this is a huge asset on that front too. I want to do it.
You like the name, the B Lab?
I do like the name, the B Lab. I love it. It's really funny. I wanted to call the Riveter School the Riveter Lab.
You did?
I did.
I'm glad you like it. The B, I just felt like, well, lab came first. Because, you know, again,
it's good.
There's been so many iterations. I started with Goal Getter. Yeah. But Goal Getter was more like mindset. Like it was not it, right? And then I was like, okay, the Total Badass Workshop. And that was just like this like regular consult. Then all of a sudden I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop worrying about that. I'm going to stop worrying about the name and the branding because I'm a big like logo branding girl, right?
Samesies.
And I was like, let's just forget about that for now. You're getting these people through the door. There's demand here. Like they want to work with you. So let's just focus on that and over delivering. Yep. Well, then as soon as I did that, I was driving one day and I was like, what is it that makes this special? And I started naming it in my head. I'm like, well, first of all, you know, the one client I've got, I'm putting her on the mic and like we had her bring she brought this like vision board in and like, it's just been this like pop off the page experience, right?
That's amazing.
An experiment, if you will, a pushing of someone like and I'm like, wait, it's a lab. I'm like, what? We're totally in a lab here. And then I was walking the same day in the park and like out of nowhere, I was like, wait, it's the B Lab. I'm like, build, brand, badass, believe, be, body, brain. And like, I mean, I named probably 25 words and it was all B and I was like, the fucking B Lab.
I think it's awesome. I think it's great.
You do?
I do. I think it's great. I would tell you if I didn't think it was great.
Yeah, I kind of really love it. I just want to, you know, I wouldn't ask everyone that, but I would definitely ask you. And then, so there's like, so far we have 6 different entrepreneurial like journeys. Like, so when we do the inputs right now, it's like there's 6 separate input paths and they all start with B.
Oh, I like that.
So I feel like they kind of had to, but it ended up making sense. Like there's one that's like beginning. So it's the person who just is on the starting. They're like, I'm looking out. I've got a thing. I have nowhere. I don't know what the fuck to do. There's all these things to do, right? Yeah. There's someone who's blocked, who's even a step away from that. They need some mindset help. They need some either like internal, external auditing of like their self, their inner circle, which I happen to have spent how much time building when I was kind of thinking of the other thing. So I've got all of that. I mean, and SOS, like that's already pretty much baked. Then there's one woman that's coming next week and she's in the build out phase. So she has a successful model here and she wants to scale it.
Love it.
So that's exciting.
That's awesome. That's a great.
There's another girl who is, it's called Bottleneck. So she started something and she's selling it. Something's not working. Something's not right. And so we kind of diagnose like what are all the things happening, what's like, so you take a really wide scope and then you kind of figure out, okay, based on the person, maybe it's very obvious or maybe there's a couple of signals where it's like, okay, if you maybe start tweaking these 3 things, we can like move through the bottle.
I think that's awesome.
So there's 6 different entrepreneurial stages, let's call it, that we are separating out and creating separate inputs for because they kind of have different situations. All right, Amy, thank you so much. As usual, you are just so enlightening. I could talk to you forever.
I learn so much from you every time and love hanging out.
I feel the same way. And if you're still out there following your girl, follow me on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, keep moving, baby.